Okay, I just found out I've been talking to myself for the last 3 or 4 minutes. Hey, Retro Afternoon Fury. Sorry about the last 3 minutes, is I just found out I was talking to myself. Okay. And what it was is I got interested in this guy called Taurus Stanin. He's a Russian beatboxer, can really hit some low notes. And I just, well, I got listening to some of his stuff and lost track of the time. So sorry about that, guys. I was actually ready over an hour ago for this stream today. All right. So what do? So what you guys talking about? Hmm. Whoa! Almost lost my computer onto the floor. Okay. There was. I, I'm going to start off with something that sort of angered me a little bit. Before I get into the other thing, I got a little angry with someone this morning, and whole lot of people did, but that's a good thing. So let me start with this first, okay? And we'll this woman obviously, for some reason. Hey, Digi, how you doing? Hey, Costin, good morning. Been a while. Yes, this is the original shroom. And as I said, I go by that, call myself the original because that's been my nickname since the very early 80s, like about 1982, maybe even 81. So, but anyway, this woman here, she feels that the United States, well, is lying to the world and has been lying since the end of World War II. Hey, Tyre, good morning. And has been lying since the end of World War II. So let you listen to what she's got to say.
All right, so I just finished watching Oppenheimer like thousands of other people, and there's something the movie didn't get into. Let me explain. The movie doesn't outright challenge the decision to use the bombs against Japanese civilians. It's
And why should it?
actually in line with the US refusal to confront crimes committed against Japan and the justification that the bombs were necessary to end the war. Okay, so I called up this historian, Naoko Wake, who's talked to dozens of survivors who can give us better context.
Okay, and just as a clue here, this Naoki Wame that she talked to is an American gender historian. Okay? So, yes, she is a historian, but she is an American gender historian. So, that should tell you a little bit about her own biases.
It's a very limited one aspect of the history of the bomb. They don't want to raise any questions about the accepted notion of World War II as a good war. We still depend on it, right?
Under international law today, those two nuclear attacks are by definition war crimes.
Today, Not then. Today. Today. You can't apply today's laws and morals against what happened in the past, for the most part. For the most part. There are some things like slavery. Yes, slavery is something that in American history, but even so, you can't necessarily use modern day laws against what went on in the past. Uh, Somebody once said nothing is illegal until it's done the first time. So,
Why? Because the majority of victims at Hiroshima and Nagasaki were civilians. The bombings killed around 200,000 people, and
Many of them suffered long-term radiation illnesses. Those types of cancer do not show up until decades later. Many of them decided not to have family at all. They didn't want to have children because they were afraid of deformity.
now let's not forget, the US is literally the only country ever to use nuclear weapons in war. And after 78 years, not a single US president has apologized to the victims.
and why should we? Why should we? Have the rape of Nanking, Unit 731, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the treatment of American POWs. All those happened prior to the dropping of the bombs.
So he's in Japan, in Hiroshima, and that's fine. Just as long as he doesn't apologize, it's absolutely fine. Who cares?
Do you feel like the US has ever taken accountability for what they have done?
No, the US government refused to recognize their existence, not to mention their suffering. They instead use survivors as guinea pigs. They use them as research subjects.
Why do you think the US is so adamant to not take accountability on this issue?
Because it exposes the fact that so-called good war, the image of World War II as glorious war, to lose that is very
Would there have been a World War II against Japan if you had not attacked Pearl Harbor? If you had not attacked Pearl Harbor, would we have gone to war against you, Japan? So yes, it was a good war. You attacked us.
very much threat against America's national interest as well as national security.
By the way, this isn't limited to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This fits perfectly with America's pattern of avoiding accountability for crimes committed. I mean, take a look at the Marshall Islands. The people there say the government has not fairly compensated them for the lasting health and environmental effects of 67 nuclear bomb tests.
My fellow historian Ron Swangenberg, he mentioned something that's a stereotypically American thing to do is to bomb people and later on ask them how they feel.
So yes, Oppenheimer is a historical film, but the threat posed by nuclear weapons is all too relevant.
And which of the countries which have nuclear weapons are ones that you are concerned about using nuclear weapons first? I don't think the United States tops that list of 9 countries. I really don't think the U.S. tops that list. It would be number 9.
9 countries currently possess thousands of nuclear weapons, with the United States and Russia having about 90% of them. So why does it matter how the US talks about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Well, if the US avoids reckoning with its past usage of nuclear weapons, it raises the concern of how they may be used in the future.
How will they be used in the future? Well, right now they're used as a deterrent. FAFO. Don't mess with us. Don't attack us. Don't attack our mainland. And you don't have to worry about our nuclear weapons dropping on you and your country. And who's planning to attack us there, young lady? Now, I'm going to assume that maybe you're Japanese in your ancestry. I don't know. I'm not that good at distinguishing the different Oriental races by facial structure. But yeah, I don't think the United States, anybody in the world, has to worry about the U.S. dropping a nuclear bomb on them unless they attack us on our homeland again, like Japan did.
And against whom?
And of course, this is an Al Jazeera Plus. You know, and see, my response to this thing, and yes, I posted it twice. Once as a response, and then once when I requoted it. Yeah, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor just because. This sounds like the bully crying after he got beat down by the kid he punched first. Let's talk Unit 731, Nanking, and American POWs. Yeah, Digi, you're right. We know she's Oriental, but that's, like I said, I am not. Oh, UK's number 9, France is 8. Oh, France has got nukes. I was not aware of that. Who's got nukes? Okay, who has nuclear weapons? Okay, Pakistan, UK, India, United States, France, North Korea, Russia, China, Israel. All right. And let's see. Who would use in order? Okay, let's see here. Uh, okay, let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's a list here somewhere. Hey, Fury, you said you had the list of who's most likely to use nuclear weapons. Good. I cannot find a list of who is the most likely to use nuclear weapons. So maybe if you've got that listing somewhere and can post a link, I would appreciate it. You know, Tyler, you're right. There are no good wars, only good peace. And you know, when a country feels froggy enough to attack someone, then they shouldn't be one belly aching when they get their asses handed to them, regardless of how it's handed to them. They shouldn't be getting. They shouldn't want sit there and whine and cry about it. And you know, Japan, you know, United States and Japan ought to be grateful to the United States that we didn't just take it over and make it a state, a subservient state. I mean, we helped rebuild that country afterwards. So, yeah, there's a lot to. All right, you know, I'm. Hey, morning, Ramen. How you doing today? So, anyway, uh, that's just something. While I'm sitting drinking my morning coffee and waiting for computer to do some processing, I ran across that this morning, and that sort of riled me a little bit. My grandfather, when he died, he still had that metal plate in his head from the war in Japan, from the World War II. I I can't remember. He wouldn't even talk about it. I don't know if he was in the Asian or European theaters. I don't know which theater he was in, but I know he lost half his skull to a hand grenade and had a metal plate put in. So, Ramen, I am doing really good. I actually, well, it started storming here this morning, and old Spanky, y'all are well aware how nervous he gets. So he woke the wife up at 1, then woke me up at 3. He needed a security blanket. So, but anyway, now I tell you, now I'm going to change subjects here. We're getting off of World War II. Comcast, Xfinity, whatever you want to call it. They had they've upgraded their internet access. So, you know, they've been sending out all these new routers to people. I get the first new router in and I hook it up, and my service just went to crap. I mean, I had service, but load times was sucked. Uh, I mean, I got disconnected. How many times did I get disconnected while streaming here? So, yeah, you know, it was just, I finally yesterday I'd had enough of it, and I was heading into town anyway. So I packed up the modem and took it back to them and said, listen, chance I can get my other one back because this one absolutely sucks. And they put me in to wait to see somebody. So I'm sitting there. And y'all also know I really dislike when somebody I don't know, I'm sitting in a business waiting to do business with someone with this company. I don't care if it's a doctor's office, a bank, and my bankers found this out, or Comcast, or the Xfinity store. And they come out and they call for me by my first name. And I sort of ignored it. Then the guy comes over and he says, "Are you?" And he calls me by my first name. I said, "Oh, you mean Mr.?" And I correct him. He goes, "Oh, okay. Yes. Well, I'm ready to help you." So, very pleasant young man. Very pleasant young man. We took care of the business. And I told him, I said, if you don't mind, I've been in customer service now since 1998. And it's I honestly believe it's very disrespectful to refer to customers that you do not know by their first name. And he's like, well, he goes, I understand that. He goes, I can see where you're coming from. And he says, well, I'll tell you what, let me show you this. So he swings around his monitor, and all on his monitor, all it said was my first name. Turns around, the guy that checked me in just put my first name in the computer on the waiting list. So he said he would check out and talk to the guy about it. So that's going to be something else. And let's see here. So, but this new modem I got in, I'm not certain what the old modem was, because the stuff is it was just so crappy. I didn't even bother testing it. But my download is let's see, I'm testing it right now, and with the two computers running, my cell phone, a booster for my cell phone, and a the thermostat for my house. I've got a 260.31 megabytes download and a 23.66 megabytes upload right now. So wow. Well, Tyre, my last name, while not common in this area, I mean, there's let's see, 2, 4, 6 of us in this area with my last name. It's not that difficult to pronounce. So let's call it what it is. My last name is not that difficult to pronounce. And my first name is extremely common and can also be used as a last name. And can also be a female's name with a slightly different pronunciation. So yeah, no, there's and like I said, it is a respect thing, I believe. And even customers that I've had for many, many years, I don't call them by their first names. Is it difficult to spell? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And besides that, when he punched in my phone number, it pulled up my first and last name. So, exactly, retro. Exactly. And another thing that bugs me too, and I know people say, oh, it's a Southern thing. All right. Women I don't know call me sweetie, hon, baby. My usual answer to them is I didn't know we were having sex last. I did not know we had sex last night. Now, I absolutely detest being called sweetie, honey, baby, or anything like that, especially when my wife is with me. My wife's not a jealous woman. She really isn't. And I've told her about some of the stuff that's happened to me, especially when I was working with the insurance company, especially since I've worked at the hotel. Um, and I figure, like I said, I figure I better tell her while I'm awake, because if I don't, since I talk in my sleep, I'll probably tell her then. But I mean, again, show respect to your customers, people. Show respect to people that you aren't friends with. Well, UK, that's well, Fury, that's there. Okay. And I know you call me hun a lot, and that doesn't bother me because you're in the UK, and I understand that. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Chick does not go well over here, retro. But if I was in the UK, I'd have to accept what happens in the UK. I got used to being called damn Yankee when I was in Europe, especially by the Brits. I used to piss the Brits off even more by showing up to anything that they were hosting, wearing my cowboy boots, a cowboy hat, and having a bottle of Jack Daniels with me. Yeah, I agree with you 100% there, Duck Dog. I'd rather have somebody call me that to my face than have some cutesy nickname that belongs to my wife, that belongs to my wife calling me. You know, there are just some terms that should be kept between spouses or intimate friends. But anyway, though, this new modem that they set me up with, I really like it. It seems to be doing quite well for me here. I mean, I just hooked it up yesterday, and so far, I mean, I forgot and had to hook up my uh, thermostat this morning, I forgot all about that until this morning when I went to adjust the temperature. Yeah, let's see here. I just ran the speed test again, 274 down and 23 up. 23.6 up. So, yeah, I can't complain about that, really, I don't think. Now, StreamYards is still saying that this is an unstable connection. So, all right, so what we got here? Okay. Let's see here. What do oh, nope. Canceled that. And let's see here. There was something else here I wanted to do this morning, and I'm drawing a blank on it. There, this one I want. All right, here we go. And I'm still here. I just wanted to show off that background picture. Okay, the solar eclipse, 4 days from today. And here is the path that is supposed to be taken. So if I was up in Ohio, like my father-in-law and sister are going to get really good. My father-in-law should be getting a great image of the solar eclipse because he is right there. My sister should have a very good one also because she's over here on the southeastern side of that path. It looks like she's still right inside the bars. So she should be getting a good one. And if you looked at today's thumbnail, you saw that all of us were wearing those solar shades. Wow, 70 up? Mine's megabytes there, Fury. Yeah, well, you won't see any of it, and I don't know how much we'll see here in Florida. So, but let's see here. I figured we would look at some of the nonsense goes on with these solar eclipses. for a little bit, just for something a little bit different. Just for something a little bit different. Like Christopher Columbus, when he was in Jamaica, um, the Arawak chief was decided that that their people would no longer supply Columbus and the ships with food. So he had a copy of a uh, book, an almanac by Johannes Mueller von Königsberg that had predicted when there would be an eclipse. So Columbus said that, in 3 days, the Christian God would all but obliterate the rising full moon, making it appear inflamed with wrath. Well, the timing was perfect and it happened. And according to Columbus's son, the Arawaks were terrified at this sight, and with great howling and lamentation came running from every direction to the ships laden with provisions, beseeching the admiral to intercede on his God on their behalf. So then Mark Twain turned around and twisted that story around in A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, which, if you've never read, is one of Mark Twain's better. Uh, it's a great story. Um, Bing Cosby, I think, made that movie, starred in that movie, starred in a movie based on A Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. But it's a good story. Good story. I thoroughly enjoyed it, or a good movie rather. Um, but yeah, that's and I guess that's not the only time people have used the solar eclipse to get their way. Walla Walla, Washington. Yeah, I've got. I'm. I don't know if I'm going to go buy a pair of them glasses, guys. If you are planning on going out watching these eclipse next week, go get yourself those glasses to look at it. That way you don't burn your eyeballs out, especially if you're in the path. Oh, good point, Retro. Good point. I'm just going by what has been put down in history. And we all know history's not always, history is his story. I don't even know what time. Do they? Oh, they don't even have times on that as to when it's going to happen. That's interesting. Time solar eclipse. Okay, let's see. What times are they talking about here? Starting in Texas at 12:30 Central Time. And then ending up at 3:30 Eastern Time, or 4:30 Eastern Time up in Maine. So, yeah. So that's the skinny. 12:25, 12:30 Central Time, starting, down in lower Texas. So noonish. Look up Daggerland. If you're, I may go ahead and break out my old Pentax film camera. I bought that thing back in 19. That's the first real expensive item I bought when I got to Germany, was a Pentax camera, and I've still got it. It still works. Maybe I ought to go see if I can find some 35 mil film somewhere and get some. If I can, and then get the filter that you need. Quite a few places are setting up special telescopes and cameras and such for people to look at the eclipse next week. So, what we got here? Now, Daily Wire had an interesting article here that I read. Yeah, the Geographic Center in Maine, the state park in Denver, is going to be packed. Oh, I don't doubt it. Like the NASA Museum in D.C. is going to get absolutely packed because they're going to be they've got a lot of special stuff happening next week for it. So, excuse me. That yawn came out of nowhere. Let's see what else is going on here this morning. I tried to find the story and the pictures of this young lady. This 19-year-old girl who looks like she's about 14. Well, I call her a 19-year-old woman. She got caught. She's got multiple charges against her. She's arrested. She's got multiple charges. Everything from child endangerment, her baby, to using mass communication items illegally, to possession with intent to sell of fentanyl, heroin, marijuana, and other drugs. So a whole bunch of charges against her. Whole bunches of charges against her. But what caught my attention when looking through this article was the $6.5 million bail put against her. $6.5 million. Whatever judge and DA she went before does not want her to get out of jail. No, Retro, I didn't see about that. You're kidding me. I'm trying not. I'm try hard. I try very hard not to be anti-cop. I do not want to be an anti-copper. I do not want to be known as anti-cop or defund the police, because I am not. I think we need an effective police force. I think we need effective cops on the street. But damn it, I'm tired of hearing a stupid cops doing stupid things. I'm getting tired of hearing it. One of the first things, another thing I read either last night or this morning, and I didn't research it, but something like 400 cops in the past 10 years have gone to prison for sexual abuse charges. And I don't even know how many others went to jail for domestic violence. And the way cops, and this burned me. This burned me. I was sitting in a parking lot. Cop rolls up on me and starts asking me what I'm doing. I'm sitting here. Let me see your driver's license. No. Why? Why do you want to see my driver's license? I'm just sitting here. I haven't committed any crimes. I haven't committed any civil infractions. I'm not speeding. I'm in a parking space. The place is open for business. Why do you need to see my driver's license? Well, I want to know who you are and why you're sitting here and so far away from the entrance. None of your business on all points. It's the cop. Go away and leave me alone. I haven't bothered you, and you or anybody else. Just leave me alone. Okay, let's see here. New video shows kidnapping victim gunned down by cops as she ran towards them for help. Oh, God. Newly released video from law enforcement shows the moment California cops fatally shot an unarmed 15-year-old girl who was reported missing. Savannah Graziano slowly approaching the officers one day after her father murdered her mother. Stop shooting her. He's in the car. She's okay. Oh my God. Officers from the San Bernardino County were seen pulling the truck over just before the shots were fired. The deputies were not wearing body cameras at the time of the incident, but audio footage from nearby officers were released getting out of the car. Oh my, and another cop is sitting there saying the teen can be seen getting out of the vehicle as an officer says over the radio, the girl's out, the female juvie is out, she's out on the passenger side. Passenger, get out, come here, come, walk. Moments later, she's shot. There needs to be police go to jail over this. Cops need to go to jail over this. This is what I'm talking about when I say I don't want to be known as somebody who wants to defund the police, but I'm tired of police doing stupid stuff like this. It's a New York Post story there. Let me see if they'll let me post it. There, I just posted it. See if you can follow it there. Like I said, I grew up in a family of cops. My dad was a reserve officer. My uncle was. I've got one uncle that's chief of the detectives. Got another uncle that was the commissioner. I've got another uncle that was beat officer. I just get tired of, so it's not like the same with nurses. The nursing aunts and my sister, my mother were all in nursing to one degree or another. One aunt was the head of all nurses in the hospital. This is absolutely ridiculous, though, when cops do stupid crap like that. So, all right, Florida Supreme Court. This is the ugly. Well, this was the planned ugliest story of the day. The other day, the Florida Supreme Court upheld the abortion restrictions in the state of Florida. Okay, 15 weeks and 15 and 6 weeks. Okay. But they turn around and also said that it could go up on the ballot this fall. That sort of screws. I tell you, that almost guarantees Florida is going to go for Biden, because the anti-abortionists are going to be out in mass to overturn these laws. Florida Supreme Court, thank you much for doing that. Thank you very much for putting it on the ballot this fall. Really appreciate that. Really retro. But the Florida Supreme Court, this as if the Florida ballot wasn't going to be a hotly contested issue anyway. Now it's just got even more so. So thank you for all the ads we're going to be having on television. Thank you for just increasing the mess that silly season is going to bring upon us in our state. It's no wonder I usually vote against any Supreme Court judge remaining on the bench. Yes, in Florida, we actually do that. We can vote to have judges removed from the bench on our Supreme Court. I don't know if other states allow that, but Florida does. And I usually vote to remove them. I pull up all the judges and follow their how they decided on cases and such. And it's just not a willy-nilly vote them all out type thing. But there's been a couple I've voted to throw off. Now, have any of them ever been thrown off? No. Because most people vote to allow them to stay just, because they don't know any better. Tyler, when I was researching things this morning, I found a quote, and I was surprised how old it was. By Captain Cook. Captain James Cook. All right. And today it rings true, so true today in American politics. To enslave a people, give them money they didn't earn. James Cook said that. I am just surprised that popped up to me this morning. James Cook had a lot of interesting quotations here. Struggle is the architect of the soul. We can never right the wrongs of the past. Never underestimate the incompetence of the government. Independent thinkers are usually geniuses or idiots, and at times it's hard to tell which. Seeds sown in adversity bear the greatest fruit. Another one that's very true for today. The decline and fall of a civilization is barely noticed by most of its citizens. I'm hoping those are all his quotes. I really and truly am. And that's not just uh but I mean it's this site is usually fairly accurate with stuff like that. I've used them before. Was his the statue Fury that got thrown into the ocean, torn down by a bunch of young punks not too long ago, and thrown into the ocean? Okay, so let me share this next story here. Speaking of political season. Oh, that wasn't Cook? Okay. Since we're talking political season here, not only do we have to worry about social media uh, silencing voices they don't like, documents show corporate giants are colluding to demonetize conservative platforms. Advertising industry's anti-conservative blacklist campaign could violate antitrust laws, which will be interesting. The House Judiciary Committee is investigating whether major advertisers ran afoul of antitrust laws by coordinating which news outlets to blackball. The committee obtained documents from the World Federation of Advertisers to show how it implemented a strategy to prevent major advertisers from doing business with disfavored news outlets. The coordinated effort could have the effect of bankrupting news organizations that don't get the stamp of approval. The World Federation of Advertisers, through its Global Alliance for Responsible Media initiative, may be acting inconsistent with U.S. antitrust laws and congressional intent by coordinating GARM members' efforts to demonetize and eliminate disfavored content online. Evidence the committee has obtained suggests that GARM members, led by steer team members, are colluding to demonetize conservative platforms and voices. Further, this coordination does not always revolve around brand safety and harmful content, as GARM publicly claims, but instead the desire to censor conservative and other views that GARM members disfavor. Now, if an advertiser doesn't want to advertise someplace, that's fine. They've got the right to spend their advertising money where they want. All right, that's freedom of speech. You know, speak where you want. You don't have to spend your money every place. Oh, Brizzle and Colston. Okay. They've got the right to spend them as an individual. Yugo, Kia, M&M, Hershey's. If they want to, where they want to spend their money is where they want to spend their money. But when they all get together and say, let's not spend our money because we don't like what they say, and even though these people spend money with us, let's shut down, let's bankrupt their organizations. Yeah. The letters indicate that documents obtained by the committee suggest the group tried to blackball mainstream conservative news organizations, specifically asking for communications referring or relating to conservative news outlets, including Fox News, Daily Wire, and Breitbart. The letters went to major corporations on GARM's steering committee, Unilever, Procter & Gamble, Group M, Diageo, and Mars, saying the documents directly connect the companies with such efforts. The documents in the active investigation have not been released to the public. The letters seek communications from the companies relating to the categorization, demonetization, or elimination of online speech. They also ask for communications discussing changes to X following Elon Musk's acquisition of the company, when many advertisers left the platform in protest of the left-wing Jack Dorsey being replaced by the billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk. Well, Jack Dorsey wasn't actually leading the company when Musk bought it. Dorsey was the head of it, name only. He was out of the company long before then. The probe suggests companies could be held individually responsible for the actions of the group they created, and that GARM may act in a cartel-like manner, even though its members are nominally competitors. WFA announced GARM's creation at the 2019 Cannes Festival, a gathering of global elites amidst complaints of disinformation and fake news. But later that year said it would become a flagship project of the World Economic Forum's platform for shaping the future of media, entertainment, and culture. Well, gee whiz. Can you get any more communist than the World Economic Forum? You just... South African fury, that makes all the difference. In an announcement that seemed like something from Darth Vader, the World Economic Forum stated the Global Alliance is creating a safe media ecosystem. GARM focuses on viewer safety for consumers, reducing risk for advertisers, developing credibility for digital platforms, and more broadly, ensuring a sustainable online ecosystem. The partners involved in the Global Alliance for Responsible Media through the forum's platform for shaping the future of media, entertainment, and sport includes companies such as Lego, Procter & Gamble, Universal, NBC Universal, MSNBC, Dentsu Group, WPP, Interpublic Group, Publicus Group, Omicron, Facebook, and Google. Well, let's see here. NBC Universal, left wing, MSNBC, my God, communists. Facebook and Google. What more? I mean, the group is nothing. I mean, come on. Yeah, am I going to paint everybody? Yeah, you're known by the people you hang out with. And when you got the communists and left wingers like you've MSNBC, Facebook, and Google, hey, Fury, I'm just throwing what they say. You know, hey, he's not truly African because he's not black, and besides that, he's from South Africa. I'll post the link here to the story if you guys want to read the rest of it, because it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, it doesn't get any more any less scary than this. It's, you know, the global elites getting together to decide what's best for us. So let's see. Garm says it provides members with brand safety for profit. For-profit firms like NewsGuard have shown what that means in practice. Companies that might buy ads are given a list of what TV programs, channels, or podcasts or newspapers are safe to advertise or should be avoided. This is billed as avoiding risk to the reputation or boycotts, essentially saying that if a company wants to avoid a boycott from the left or smear campaigns, they should not do business with certain media outlets. It's amazing how when the left decides to boycott something, it's for the good. They're doing the right thing. But when the conservative groups decide that they need to get together and boycott a company, it's like there's only been one company I have boycotted, well, two companies that I have refused to buy from. First one that's still in business is Apple. I will not buy an Apple product. I will not use an Apple product if I don't have to. Excuse me, I didn't want you guys to hear me yawn. And the other one was Kmart. And I quit buying at Kmart except once a year to buy my wife's teddy bear. Because remember, Kmart used to have these teddy bears with the ears on the foot. And I bought her one the first Christmas that we were dating. And then for 27 years, every year, I bought her one of those. No, 25 years. Well, after we've been married, she had 27 of them. For 25 years of our marriage, I bought her another one. She finally told me to stop because she was running out of places to keep them. When it wasn't, even when it was Christmas, put them all out on display. She begged me to stop. But I quit buying at Kmart because of their anti-gun stance. And this back when Rosie O'Donnell was their spokesperson, and she had Tom Selleck, who was the nominal spokesman for the NRA on her show. and he was on there to talk about, I think it was Three Men and a Baby, to talk about that movie, and she just come out left field and absolutely attacked him for his NRA position, being a member of the NRA. And that was the last time I bought anything from Kmart. I walked into Kmart once a year just to get that teddy bear because it was a line of teddy bears. So, but conservatives say that they're going to boycott somebody, and it's evil, it's mean, it's the wrong thing to do. It's like when the Tea Party went out and protested, and the Tea Party actually was doing things, left areas cleaner than what they were when they showed up. But oh my God, the Tea Party protesting someplace or someone was absolutely wrong thing to happen. But these the left wing, especially left wing college kids, get out there protesting and damaging. Remember the mostly peaceful protests of 2020? The protests at Trump's inauguration. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with that. Regardless of the damage and fire set by the protesters. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with that. They were just young people expressing, even when it came out that during the primaries leading up to that election, and even when it came out that most of the protesters at Trump's campaign stops were paid for by Democrats, they would still go to Trump and ask him what he would do to stop the protesters at his campaign stops, at his events, as if it was his fault. Those people were out there causing damage, throwing eggs at people and such. Nah, it's the media will always find a way to blame conservatives for whatever goes on. What about the armed entrance into a session of Congress? Oh yeah, exactly, Fury. It's an insurrection if the right does it. It's peaceful protests, people getting their voices heard when the left does it. Anyway, as you can tell, this article is got quite a bit more to it. So I'm not going to get in going deeper into this article. I posted a link to it if you guys want to finish reading it. I'm hoping just the threat. I would hope that just the threat of congressional investigations will stop this, but being as it's part of the World Economic Forum, it won't. It won't, because they've got the backing of Soros and these other people that just, honestly, they hate America. They hate freedom. They hate us. Us. We people. We the people. They hate the fact that we have control of the government, that we say who sits in office. They hate that fact. They want to put in who they want have in. They want to anoint or appoint people to control us. I'm going to pick on Scotland here for just a second. You know, this whole mess with what's her name that wrote the Harry Potter books, J.R. Rowling, and how she's absolutely daring the Scottish government to have her arrested for hurting transgendered people's feelings under their laws that they passed 3 years ago, and how she's absolutely daring them. You know, yeah, she's British, but she's been living in Scotland, and she's saying, "Do it." You know, basically, she's daring them to arrest her for hurting her feelings. You know, it. I find it amazing, you know, and yeah, there's people, and I will admit, there's some things where sometimes I get a little sensitive about things. Some issues I may find myself being a little too sensitive about, and being, you know, stomp my foot on the ground and say, but no, you can't. And if I step back and look at it and say, yeah, I really shouldn't be that sensitive about it. I started getting upset over this Trans Day falling on Easter this year, and all the cities and states, governors and such that were doing all these proclamations for Trans Day. And then I went and read some more about it and found out it had been on the books for quite a few years. And of course, Easter does not always fall on the 31st. Now, I've heard some people say, well, just pick a day, make Easter. You don't want to have something like this fall on, just pick a day. You can't just pick a day, because Sunday doesn't always fall on the same day every year. Easter is, you've got Good Friday. According to tradition, Christ was crucified on a Friday and rose on the Sunday. That's according to tradition. True or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. But that's why we have Good Friday services. That's why Thursday is a day. The Thursday, you got Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Those are the three religious days around the death and resurrection. So that's the reason why Easter floats around to different days every year. Because it makes no sense to have Good Friday services on a Wednesday or a Monday. That makes no sense. Yeah, thank you. I was drawing a blank on what the Thursday was there, Fury. I appreciate that. You know, so I started to get a little in my feelings about it. And then finally, you know, it's like, well, it's just something else that, let's see how it all washes out. Let's see where the publicity and where the media and everybody else, what they make the bigger deal of on Sunday. And if they start bashing Christians on that, look, they're celebrating Easter in the days of bashing trans and trans activism and yada yada, and see how many trans people be protesting and such in front of churches celebrating, Easter Sunday. That's what I was waiting to see would happen. And yet there were a few groups that did it at some of the larger churches, St. Patrick's Cathedral and such. But for the most part, they left the Christians and the churches alone. Yeah, now, I mean, Biden did say it was the Oyster Bunny, but yeah, for the White House thing on Sunday, he did call it the Oyster Bunny. But what can you say? Oh, Tyler, yeah, uh I'd love to see the Gays for Palestine actually go to Palestine and live. I'd even help. I can't afford to buy anybody tickets, but I'd give to a GoFundMe to buy tickets. You're kidding me, Fury. They needed to know the date. Oh my gosh. Ramen, who knows? Well, yeah, Retro. Biden said he didn't do that, but I mean, there's the proclamation by the White House with his name and supposedly his signature at the bottom of it. So, yeah, he doesn't remember what he signs half the time. Okay. Well, and since we're talking about disrespecting and disrespecting, LSU women's basketball. What the devil is that? Okay. LSU women's basketball. They just having a bad day the other day. Just a trigger warning. The national anthem of the United States shall be playing.
And sing by the tongues of the light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last.
LSU's women.
So, did y'all notice what was missing there? The LSU women's basketball team sat out the national anthem. They stayed in the locker room. Now, my guess is, and other people have made the same observation, that many players on the LSU team had planned on taking a knee or sitting down or other shenanigans during the national anthem. And the coach said that wasn't what was being planned to happen. Then coach denied that. What did the coach actually say was the reason why they sat out? the national anthem.
on the floor during the national anthem. First part, was that a conscious decision on your part? Second, can you say what the team was doing during that time?
Honestly, I don't even know when the anthem was played. We kind of have a routine where we are on the
Did not know when the anthem was being played. Really? Nobody come into the locker room and let you know that the game was getting ready to start. Nobody told you at what time the national anthem would be played. Nobody told you anything. They just let you sit in the locker room with no knowledge of what was going on. That's what you're saying. That's what you expect us to believe, that you had no idea what time the national anthem was going to be playing to start the game.
routine where we are on the floor and then they come off at the 12-minute mark. We just, I don't know, we come in and we do our pregame stuff. I'm sorry. Listen, that's nothing intentionally done.
Yesterday, one of the primary
I believe that. Like, I believe I've got $1 million check in the mail coming my direction today. Well, Retro, they lost the game anyway. So, yeah. So there's that. You know, fortunately, LSU lost the game. But made, and honestly, got into a discussion here between Caitlin Clark and the Angela, what's her name on LSU. They're both they're both aggressive players, but Angela, I think, is just a dirty player. I think, I just think she's a nasty player. She's known for throwing elbows, tripping, and yanking hair. Caitlin just gets in your face and yells F you at a lot of people and potty mouths you. But, I mean, they're both very aggressive players. And Caitlin, she does own the record for the most points ever scored by a female in college basketball. So, and I think that there's that too. Yeah, Retro's surprised about that too, that there's still women on the team or that there aren't more men on the women's team. That's next year. You'll see LSU having the first transgender ball players. Fury, you're a card. You really are. And finally, a Wall Street Journal poll. March 17th to the 24th. Let's take a look at some numbers. This is the last thing I've got to cover. That hasn't really gotten a whole lot, to my knowledge, a play. And these are the next battleground states here. Right direction, a total of 25. Wrong direction, 68%. Arizona, 22 to 72. Georgia, 22 to 70. Michigan, 25 to 66. North Carolina, 23 to 72. Nevada, 28 to 66. Pennsylvania, 24 to 69. Wisconsin, 31 to 62. Okay. Again, 36 to 51. If all things being equal in the 2024 election for Congress held today, would you be more likely to vote Republican or candidate? Or Republican or Democrat candidates? Get my tongue off my mouth here. 32 for the average, 32 for definite Republican, 31 for definite Democrat, so pretty well split. But probably, so we're looking at 45 to 42 difference here, with 13% being undecided. I'd like to know how they get 44 here. 13 and 2 equals 5 in my books, at least when I went to school. So, and 3 and 1, 4, 1 and 3, 4. So 44, 45, there's or I'm sorry, 1 and 1 is 2. Okay, they got the 42 right. So that should have been 45 up there. And then finally, let's see here. Joe Biden, his highest favorable, Wisconsin, 22. Donald Trump, his lowest is 26, again in Wisconsin. There, you can see that in here. Let me go ahead and post a link to this. Copy. Paste. And see, even Robert Kennedy's got some decent numbers here. Donald Trump, 39 to 36, with Kennedy getting 11, undecided getting 10. $43 to 39, and that's with Jill Stein. You take out everybody except Jill Stein. $47 to 42, 43, 47 to 43. Look, if it's just between Biden and Trump. How are is their math? You notice their math is off in Biden's favor. 36 and 7 is 43, not 44 in Wall Street. These people in their math, man, unless they're doing some horrible rounding up. Do you approve or disapprove of Biden? Strongly approve 17, strongly disapprove 47. Somewhat approve for Trump. Strongly approve for Trump 32, strongly disapprove 39. But if you add the somewhats, that's 48 to 51. Wall Street Journal just don't know how to do math. So yeah, that's some interesting polls. You're right about that, Retro. Yeah, okay, Retro. One, I have to somewhat agree with you with Kennedy, but Kennedy's also got some things out there that's just a little. Mm. When he's on his medication, his voice isn't too bad. It's just when the medication is wearing off. So, but you're right. The polls are always biased towards Dems, so that does make it that much better here for Trump. But we still got to get through all these trials. We got to make it through till November and get through the trials. And then what in the hell happens if Trump does get convicted and a judge sentences him to jail time effective immediately at the end of the trial, but it's before or immediately, right there in November or just, September, October timeframe. Or worse, it's in December, early January. What did they do? I mean, we talked about constitutional crisis. And I mean, we all know these are all political charges all the way across the board. So, now this next thing, this is what I'm going to close on. If this is not a Trump ad, it should be. If this is not a Trump ad, it should be.
You do not have.
Donald Trump is back at it again with the Biden commercials.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
Boom.
If that actually is not a Trump ad, it really should be. So, well, that is all I have for this morning. I want to thank you all for coming out and listening to me ramble and grumble and sling a bunch of whatever. I appreciate it. And I want y'all to have a good day now. Enjoy yourselves. Yes, they did have that earthquake, didn't they, Retro? I forgot about that this morning. And as always, be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with. And have a good one, all.